So do you know that spending time with our children, you know that we love them by spending quality time with them, by spending time complimenting, nurturing them, and doing the right things is going to help us in the long run to be able to bond with them. Let's talk about bonding with our children. Hello, dear amazing parents. Time is the single most important thing that we can give to our children in order to foster the growth of a loving relationship with them. Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay. So if you are a returning subscriber, you are welcome. If you are here and you have not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe to my channel. And let's learn so much. Let's glean from each other. Leave comments in the comment section. Okay, so bonding is a daily process of relationship building, and it needs to occur at each developmental stage, and we are either strengthening it or weakening it. Time is the single most important thing that we can give to our children in order to foster the growth of a loving relationship with them that is both robust and balanced. When it comes to the first 10 years of our children's lives, the word love can be spelled using the letters T-I-M-E. If you do not make the effort to be there in your children's life, you'll not be able to provide them with the needed attention, with the type of loving attention that they need, that they require and deserve. So this is because you will be unable to give them the time that you have to offer. And the problem is that it never appears to be enough. Time is always looking like it's not enough for the things that we want to accomplish. And the letters T-I-M-E can also be used to spell the word. The joy of parenting young children will be diminished more than it will be by any other factor if the parent acts an excessive amount of obligations away from parenting, that keeps them very busy. And the kind of society in which we live in right now overestimates the productivity of parents by keeping them away from their and when we have something concrete to show for the time that we have invested, such as a payment, a report, or a project, or a yard that has been mourned, or a homemade birthday cake, we feel a sense of satisfaction, right? And really, when it comes to paying attention to our children, giving them time, we may not be able to give a report, we may not be able to say, but there is a process of involvement that makes them feel loved. And when people strive to gain material things, they don't have that time to really give to the children because they are in the spirit of being busy. And parents are often warned that raising children is an expensive endeavor. So a lot of us are trying to provide a lot of things which will definitely require us to give them these things with our money, like toys, like send them to the best of schools, fancy cribs, computers, pets, a room of their own, going on vacation, expensive clothes, PlayStation, birthday parties, name it, bikes, cars, shoes. Some of us even take out time to spend more time on fast food just to make our children happy. And it takes money to do a lot of things. I understand that. Even though it should not be like this, we must begin to put in delayed gratification on some things in our society. Now everything is shouting, buy me instantly, buy me, pay later. The majority of people live in that kind of life of affording the things they want to give to their family in the now, even if it means that they purchase it and pay later. People are purchasing a larger house, a boat, a bigger TV. However, all these things that we are purchasing are keeping us too busy by making us trying to pay for them. And we just want to take advantage so that we'll be happy in the minutes, in the now. And this is a very serious issue because many parents give up their independence, give up their freedom in order to spend less time with their growing children, which can be very detrimental to those children's development. if the theory of evolution is accurate, then families are in an impossible scenario, because we are all going to make monthly payments on our mortgage, on our vehicle, or our loans, and if the theory of evolution is correct, the situation is hopeless, because what happens is that we need to shift our perspective, because in the end, dad has to put more effort at the office so that mom can fulfill her job as a parent who stays at home with the children, and that makes dad absent. He sneaks out of the house very early in the morning before the kids are up and ready. He doesn't come back until after they've been tucked into bed. And in addition, given that dad is not present to provide a hand with loving care, looking after the children and ensuring that the house is kept in good condition, it is necessary for mommy to put in additional hours of work while she's still at home, because mom and dad are so worn out at the end of the day, they're even unable to engage in any form of intimate behavior with each other, which affects their marriage, which affects them having meaningful conversations, and before you know it, it creeps into their parenting. And the rock solid basis of the family, which consists of two loving parents, two loving people, starts to shake. And when the marriage is shaking, the children will suffer. What am I saying? We keep ourselves busy attending church board meetings, church services, building communities, meeting for Bible studies, going for choir rehearsals, community outreach, PTA gathering. All of these things, all of these events are really important. I'm not saying they are not important, and they should be attended. Yes, engaging in one of these activities will serve you well. Nevertheless, you need to be able to exercise extreme caution when doing any of them. They are stopping us from spending quality time with our children, and sometimes we need to learn to say no. Something you would normally have the opportunity to do later, you must do it now, and that is at the expense of your children. Why? We need to prioritize time with our families so that we know that that is our topmost priority. We are not required to lead a lifestyle that is overly dedicated to every other thing apart from our families. Children rely on us to develop into who they are. God grants us sufficient time to bring our children, in a godly manner. And what is it that prevents us from spending time with our children, really? Really, let's think about it. If you want the best from your children, you need to invest the best of yourself and the best of your time in raising them. In this way, love is demonstrated. The relationship between a parent and a child can be strengthened in this way. This is how you will be able to instill a sense of value into children. You need to keep in mind that even in the scriptures, it is written that it is important for parents to take pleasure in the fruits of their labor in order to have time for God, time for family, time to enjoy the rewards of our labor. What adjustments must we do? Do I believe God would help me? Well, it's not beyond our help. Well, the first thing is that most of us do not take our priorities on family very seriously. Spending quality time enables us to have connections with our family. Children require our undivided attention and time. And we must not let someone make us feel awful about the fact that we are unable to do everything we used to be able to do before we had children. Spending quality time with our children is the single most important thing we can do to mold them, to mold their character for Christ. And it's also one of the easiest things we can do. You won't be able to accomplish what you set out to do if you approach parenting as whenever I feel like it. You won't be able to make it if you prioritize your career, your church obligations, your house chores, your job, your personal enjoyment, your business. You should prioritize your relationship with your children more than those, because your immediate and extended family, above all other responsibilities, are your valuable resources. You need to achieve fulfillment through attending to your children's requirements, engaging in activities such as just playing and walking alongside with them and simply spending time with them is very rewarding. Trust me, because we don't have a job outside our home that is more important than the one within our homes. Trust me. I know how we need to go out there and work, but can we also prioritize our families? Because every one of us ought to enjoy our lives to the fullest as long as possible, right? But are we really calming down, slowing down? People should not only eat and drink and have good times, because children have a demand for time, and you will have to fulfill this demand voluntarily without showing any sign of hostility or resentment against the other things that you're doing. On the other hand, children should consume a certain portion of our lives. They are not all of our lives, so that you are able to balance things up. Our children cannot consume all the part of our lives. They are not our life's purpose. They are not our mission. We have a calling greater than that of our children, because our family is the bedrock of the transformation that we want to see happen in the world, but it doesn't end with our family. So in order for us to make an effort to be world changers, we must not fail to take care of ourselves and our marriage, our spouse at the same time, because it is impossible to satisfy all of our children's requirements, particularly if they are still very young and they rely on us. So we must be able to do something. You might expect your children to satisfy your emotional needs if they aren't meant in a healthy and mature way, which is typically the situation in dysfunctional homes. If this is the case, you might expect your children to meet your emotional needs when it's your spouse that should meet some of these needs. Sometimes these are the things, the needs that you need to give to yourself. There are things that human beings cannot give to you. It is God that can give you those things. There's a level of self-reliance and independence that parents must possess. So please, let's make our priorities, our families our priorities. The next thing is fill the empty spaces in your schedule with the things that will connect you with your children. If you have a few minutes, what fun thing can you do with your child? In order to convey to your child the message that you love them, that they are the most essential components of your family. If you wait until you have an hour or 2 hours to yourself, it may be several months or even several years for some of us that are very busy before you're able to complete the task of having time for your children. Therefore, I suggest that you try to cram as much as you can into every available spare time you have. A way of, connecting with your children on their way to school at every point, at every single point. You could also throw snowballs at each other. You could throw pillows at each other. Watch a caterpillar, have a tickle contest, play hide and seek, play riddles, make up a song, sing a song, teach each other, give butterfly kisses using your eyelashes, play. The possibilities are endless. So it is not necessary to have a lot of money or a lot of intelligence at the expense of our families. We must put love into the little amount of time that we have. It is a wonderful method to convey the message that you are the most important person in my life. When you spend quality time. When the same prearranged activities take place in the family over and over again, it becomes a family tradition. And such activities distinctively, make your family unique. They are not only able to create memories, but you also give members of the family a sense of belonging. So even the smallest of traditions can illuminate the path of the future and shine brightly in the here and in the now, to make our days much more, enjoyable. So, can we begin new customs with our family? Create some plans to get together. It's never too early to start thinking about how you are going to put everything else on hold and just hang out with your family, hang out with your husband, hang out with your wife. As an illustration, when you get home from work, spend like a quarter of an hour playing with your children. Establish a pattern for going to bed, such as giving, they have a bath, you read a story together, you pray together, you sing lullabies, you give them a kiss, you say good night. When our children experience these things, it becomes one of the favorite things to do. First thing at night, last thing at night, first thing in the morning. Some of us, we need to loosen up. We need to loosen up because we think we don't have time. But it's these little things that actually shows how much time we are giving to our children. Spend time together doing the things that the children look forward to. Eating together on the same dining table. Is it praying together? Is it playing together? Is it reading? Is it singing? When the children are older and more involved in creating family rules, then you can begin to find solutions to issues and making plans. You should begin holding a weekly family council meeting or a staff meeting in your home. We are all in this job together. When we are able to have conversations on and on. Oh, it's family time meeting. Oh yeah, can we sit down and talk? It makes the home a bit more relaxed. It's not the time to scold. It's not the time to complain. It's not the time to criticize. But we can jot down some things to plan ahead during this conversation. A thought occurs to us and we can write it down, we can discuss it within our family, and we'll carry them out maybe later in another day, later in the evening, later in the next morning, whatever. Just make a list of the different activities that you and your family would like to carry out. What projects would you like to embark upon? What would you like to complete together, such as maybe tending a garden or painting a room, creating a holiday memory like maybe Christmas or birthday. Just take into consideration all of your children needs and create specific arrangements to spend quality time with each of your children. Spending time with the entire family is really essential, but spending time with just one child is very critical. For just like maybe 15 minutes in a day, we must have a wonderful opportunity to remind our children that one child, that you are a unique child. I love you. I always look forward to hearing from you. You make me feel happy. They contribute to the sense of security that our children will have in the long run, which is the most pivotal thing for them to be able to become capable and compassionate people themselves. And one other way that we can actually spend quality time is keeping the traditions of our family alive by demonstrating to our children that everything is going well and everything will be well and that everything is working together for good. In spite of whatever may be the difficulty that we have come across during the day, the week, the year, it doesn't matter if we had a loss, we had a pain that is undeniable in our family. When we celebrate anything, we really can't afford to let our guards down by belittling the power of gratitude as a family. The majority of our customs become established after an event or an action has been carried out with multiple of times. So when it's birthday, when it's remembrance, when it's whatever you're doing, you may tell people to join you in, and eat and pray. And when you do the dishes, when you get into the shower, at what time you have to go to bed, just make sure that you're able to have connected with your children and with your spouse at one point or the other. And in addition to that, we have, a lot of opportunity to experience and pass down our family legacies, family history to our children when we put these customs. I'm not talking about bad customs or evil customs or traditional rites. No, I'm talking about things like sitting at the table once a year with the other extended members of the family, establishing a network of people that can support, who are in the position to assist us. And we actually need that. Yeah, that's another point that I want to talk about when it comes to spending quality time with our children. Are you getting me? We need to be able to lean on to other people, because we can't give our children the full attention that they require while also meeting our own needs. Allow us to give our children a better portion of attention when we have other people to share that burden with. If you isolate yourself from other people, you run the risk of losing your own identity and coming to believe that you are the only one who is responsible for the happiness of your children. You may begin to believe that your value is determined by the actions of your children, and that's a very dangerous thing, because if your child acts up in church, or the responsibility now lies squarely on you, you are to be blamed for whatever evil your child does or whatever good your child does. And when he loses his school, you have only yourself to blame. That's not right. It is essential that you do not allow your ego to influence the way that you are relating with your child and how your child is, behaving, because your child must learn to take responsibility for themselves. When your children are young, it is healthy for them to have other people in their lives, and it is healthy for them to have those people in their lives, like their grandparents, like their aunts, their uncle. And then when something comes up and you can't be with them, or whenever you and your husband or wife want to go out to have a peaceful night's dinner or enjoy that second honeymoon that you have been planning, you won't feel guilty, because you know that your children are in good hands with people that they adore, the people that can influence them positively. You ought to make an effort to incorporate grandma or grandpa, or if possible both of them, who are willing to help actually, to come in and play some roles. Make sure that you arrange the periods when you will provide care for your children accordingly. So don't just hand them over to somebody else to take care of. Give them the finest opportunity that they can have to connect with you as mommy or as daddy. Also, do not make the assumption that they will agree to it. It's not uncommon, to have the opportunity to make friends, and sometimes we need to be able to introduce our children to making new contact with people they are not used to. And for some of us that spend the majority of our time at home during the week, we must take out time to be able to also maybe have a break. Just have a schedule. If you have already assisted another person, it's time for somebody to also assist you at this point in your life, because when you ask, you'll be able to get that help that you need, rather than those people who are a part of your support system just looking at you. Some people want to help, and another thing, let's not take advantage of those people who are generous enough to help. Make sure that you are able to provide all that they need, and be there when people need your own help too. Okay, so bonding is a daily process of relationship building, and it needs to occur at each developmental stages, and we are either strengthening it or weakening it. According to a number of studies, the single most essential thing you can do for your child as a parent is to maintain a close relationship. The child needs to feel safe and secure in order to respond to you, to the environment, with reasoning and creativity, rather than fear or a sense of failure or rejection. So bonding is similar to a comfort blanket, in that it creates this feeling of safety and security in a child. Let's face it, kids are like children are children. If you play over with them, there is good likelihood that they will engage and play with you. The majority of the behavior that we prefer, if we pay attention to them, they will exhibit those behaviors. They will rip out their own hair, we know that. They will scribble on the wall, is normal. They will destroy their favorite dishes, stuff like that. What I mean is, they can write on the wall, hit and behave in a certain manner that we feel is not okay, and we can actually redirect that into a more pleasant behavior. Children may lie, children may cheat, they may yell at each other, they can catch on you. They are only children and they have no intention of being a nuisance to anyone. But they don't mean to annoy us, they don't mean to make trouble, they don't mean to bother us. We must allow them to be redirected. We will take up that responsibility and redirect them. So why should we bond with our children? Our dedication to daily bonding up with our children is going to help us in many ways. Let me talk about a few of them, because the degree of intimacy between you and your child is the primary factor in determining the amount of influence and impact you will have on your child. This is what world changer parenting is about, because the degree of intimacy between you and your child is the primary factor in determining the amount of influence and impact you will have on your child. There is nothing else like competing for your attention. If the two of you are able to grow close, when you pay more attention to something, you become more connected to it. That's the same way that your child, the extent at which you focus directly is proportional to the number of distinct senses that are stimulated by the experience that you create with your child. It's essential for every child to spend time, with their parents, and this engages the children's sense of sight. You must see them, you must talk with them, they must hear you, you must hear them, you must touch them, they must touch you. That's how we're able to bond. People can also bond by sharing experiences of smell and taste. Permit me to explain the significance of each of these things that I'm actually talking about, because the senses is very strong, and that's one of the ways you can bond with the children. When parents take time to talk to their children face to face, it might assist these children to pay attention to what is being said. You can do this by kneeling down by the child, to the child's level, and you look directly into the child's eye. Parents have a responsibility to educate themselves on how to communicate effectively with their children. And this includes how to read their children's body language, So, listening. Another thing is seeing. We can maintain a good relationship with our children by listening to them. Is one of the most important components of parenting. However, the first few years are the optimal period to establish productive modes of communication. When children are small, you talk, listen, talk, listen. As your child begins to get older, you place more emphasis on listening to them while they talk, as well as talking and listening. I know that it sounds a bit new to you, but if your communication with your child grows, you'll be able to prevent significant amount of temper tantrums, of conflict, of uncertainties, of misbehavior that comes with age gap that exists between parents and their children. And the way we were years ago growing up is different, and that's why we cannot parent the way we were parented. Another thing that makes us to bond very well with our children is our sense of touch. A lot of us need to learn to hug our children. Have you hugged your children today? Have you hugged your child today? I know we're not used to these things, but one of the most misunderstood, underutilized ways to communicate affection is through physical contact. Maybe by touching within our families. A strong bond would have formed more, and a lot of young girls will not be, very much enticed on the outside. What I'm just trying to say is that we need to express the affection for one another by simply speaking the words I love you, by touching each other the right way. Sometimes you need to stare into each other's eyes. You know, if you want to teach children about what is acceptable, sex education starts from home, and it starts from the way how will you tell a child an improper touch? How can a child understand an improper touch and differentiate it from a proper touch when we don't take advantage of the many moments that we can create within the opportunities we have? We need to start creating the freedom of space in our homes for us to be able to communicate properly. Sometimes you need to tell a story to pass a message across. So by doing that, we are, bonding with our families. We need to call our children by their name, encourage them to listen to, even other loved ones on the phone, like their parents, their grandparents, their cousins, speak to their baby cousin, sing a song, read a story, read a book, do something, unhappily. It's not good. A signal number of parents don't like touching children, like giving them a hug, their hands, rubbing their hands, their feet. And a lot of practice needs to be put into it. We need to learn. That's what change means. Because when we are learning, we realize we are changing, right? We need to take this, like the doctor prescribed it. Touch your child every time, as many times as possible in a day. You will be, even for babies, when a baby is cranky and is, try to stroke the baby, hold the baby, rock the baby, sing. This will keep the baby from becoming overtired. And feel free to massage your children's legs. Massage their feet. Loving feelings follow loving action. Loving feelings follow loving action. Touch your children appropriately. Establishing trust requires a gentle approach to touching children. Touch your children appropriately. Establishing trust requires a gentle approach to touching children. Don't let children relate your hand to roughness. A delicate touch conveys that this person is fragile, is delicate. But when you hit children, you beat them up, you push them, you're not being kind. And a kind word has the power to diffuse tension more than hitting and slapping and all of that. So, gentle talk, touch, hugs. I will not get tired of saying that increasing your knowledge of children and your role as a parent is essential. The more you educate yourself, the more self-assured you ought to feel. Do not let these experiences of the past determine your feelings in your parenting journey. What you need to discover is that there is so much to learn. Stop dwelling on the past and move forward. Stop dwelling on how your father raised you, in your father's days, in those days. Can we please just move on? Because this is the 21st century. In the next 10 years, it's going to be another shift. Another generation will be born. So what are we saying? We need to start breaking unhealthy habits. It's not by pointing accusing fingers, it's by learning. So parents, let's learn. Now, another thing I want to talk about is that we need to observe and tell ourselves the truth. We may raise our children in ways that make us look good, but we are not helping them, because the goal of parenting is not for a parent to look good. The goal of parenting is to raise a child that knows who he or she is. Am I speaking? Raise them to conform to who they are, their identity. I'm not talking about them being Nigerians or Africans or being Europeans. No. We should always follow this mindset that our children have a unique identity of which is hung on the truth. And the truth is not bought in the markets. You must help your children unravel the truth. The truth is calling out to them. But we are keeping them away when we do not expose ourselves to teaching them the truth. daddy and mommy, we will teach our children the truth about who they are. When your child needs you, you should feel excited, feel happy, and give them what they need. Give them what they need. I'm so excited, and I know that as we are open to learning, as we spend more time spending love to our children in the littlest of things, in our daily connection, moving from where we are on our parenting journey to who we are becoming as world changer parents. Because our children are the ones who are going to change the history, just as we are changing the history in our own time, because we were raised to do so. So can we just redirect these children to the light? That's what I'm talking about. That's why I am here. Resist the urge to complain. Instead, recall your child's day's highlights. Recall their skills, their kind work, the acts that they do. Remember that your thoughts affect your attitude, which determines your behavior. So, one thing parents need to check is, what is our parenting skills like? Because some of us we forget that when you compare two items, there is always going to be the one that appears to be superior than the other. So you can very much count on it being that you should stop comparing children. Like, that is a mistake that people make. You are doing a great job. Can we step up a lot higher? Let's level up. Let's begin to create a sense of strong bonds, strong bondings, strong connections in our homes. Let's tighten the relationship with our children. That's the goal of the world changer parenting. We can't give up hope, right? One other thing I want to talk about is that negative talk is not very good, and it's a very contagious attitude. That's why you need an atmosphere like this that will give you the juicy things about parenting. Remove yourself from situations, from relationships, from people, from conversations that are not helping your parenting. Owe it to both yourself and your loved ones to populate your life with people that are upbeat, energetic, positive, optimistic. Negative jokes and comments are not welcomed on our parenting. We must ingrain into our culture a sense of purposefulness. Yes, you always hear me talking about these things. And as parents, if we want to bond better with our children, laughter is going to help our home. Sometimes me and my family just sit down and watching a comedy. Like, we just go on and find funny comics, and some things it's just animals. We will just sit down, we will laugh. Because laughter, the Bible says, a merry heart, makes you feel your bones strong. Makes your bones strong. Get in the habit of laughing at yourself. Laughing in your. I'm not saying you should laugh at your children. Share your children with others and let them be happy. Enjoy the very adorable things of life, of moving from where we are on our parenting journey to who we are becoming as world changer parents. Because our children are the ones who are going to change the history, just as we are changing the history in our own time, because we were raised to do so. So can we just redirect these children to the light? That's what I'm talking about. That's why I am here. Resist the urge to complain. Instead, recall your child's day's highlights. Recall their skills, their kind work, the acts that they do. Remember that your thoughts affect your attitude. When your children say something funny, laugh with them. Laugh with them. Parents tend to bring a lot of joy and happiness into their families. And even children bring so much joy into our homes. We need to preserve our collection of funny things in our homes. Yeah. And you will see that the bond in your home will grow stronger and stronger. Another thing is that we must pay attention to, drawing lessons from whatever happens in life, because all things will end up working together for good, but our ability to give thanks is very crucial. Here, and you have not subscribed, go ahead, subscribe to my channel, and let's learn so much. Let's glean from each other. Leave comments in the comment section, and I'll see you. I'll be right back.